once again, welcome to the Alphabet Football Talk Show. Tonight we're got the trio in the house, and we're gonna give you as much knowledge as we can here in the next 2 hours. Please bear with us. As you know, we always like to start off with the news, everything that's been happening, anything that may have transpired, any type of transactions that may have happened during the since our last time on the air. So, first and foremost, we're going to talk about Ramona's favorite player, her favorite current player. You know how much love. You know how much love she has. You know how much love she has for him, and we got Antonio Brown's back in the news again. We got Antonio. We got AB back in the house, and you know well earlier today he got served with an 8-game suspension for everything that has transpired. He was waiting on it, so I guess he won't be on the. If he does,
we have about 6 years. You might want to hold off on some of this news until we get a few more viewers.
Okay, so
because I'm sure there's a lot of people who don't know anything about the suspension because I'm one of those.
Yeah. So, well, here's the thing: they'll be able to watch it on the OnPoint network. We, you know, they can go back and watch it. But as you know, we have Antonio Brown. He's in the news again, and it's been rumored Lamar Jackson actually spoke with John Harbaugh and has requested that that the Ravens sign Antonio Brown. So, you know, that's big. His cousin Hollywood Brown plays for the Ravens, and then I don't know. I think this is the type of move here that could actually. I think that the Ravens are a Super Bowl contender. I don't know if they are the Super Bowl contender. I still think you to be the man, you got to beat the man. And right now, the man is the Chiefs. But if you're able to pull off a move for Antonio Brown and get him later on in the season, I mean, the Ravens are still going to win games. I think he would be the final ingredient to. I think he would be the final ingredient to really put them over the edge and maybe win that division. I mean, I know that's Ramona. I know you're diehard Steelers fan, but Antonio Brown going over there playing the Steelers twice a year
makes it dangerous.
Makes them extremely dangerous. I mean, you just have to call it for what it is with their running game, and then you look at some of the speed that they have on that team. You look at a Marquise Brown. Let's not forget. There's a name I really want y'all to remember out there, and that's Devin Duvernay out of Texas. Okay, the slot receiver out of Texas ran a 4.3, I believe. You put Antonio Brown, Hollywood Brown, Devin Duvernay, and then you still have the tight end Mark Andrews. With those running backs that they have, you know, you still got Lamar Jackson who'll take off on you, Mark Ingram, J.K. Dobbins, and Gus. You know, we talked about it last week on the AFC North show. What do you think about this, Ramona? What do you think about Antonio Brown? First off, what do you think about the eight-game suspension? Do you think that's enough? And secondly, if he were to sign with the Ravens, which is the rumblings right now for everything I'm hearing, what do you think? How do you think that shifts the power in the AFC?
Well, I think it does the exact same thing it did to the other two teams he went to after he left Pittsburgh. I think it puts him in total chaos. If they can keep him quiet, keep his mouth shut, it makes them a very, very dangerous team, not just in the AFC, but in the NFL period. Yeah, it's just that simple. I just saw someone try to get into the room, William. I don't know if you saw that or not.
Oh, we got Sully Sell and Marcus. Okay, hold on one sec. That's probably.
Yeah, I just.
No. Go ahead and let them in, Ramona.
I don't have a lot of faith, I guess, in Antonio Brown and staying out of trouble. You know, he's always opening his mouth, sticking his foot in, you know, up to his knees, and just getting himself in trouble. So we'll see. I don't know. Maybe they like that mentality.
What do you think? What do you think?
I think Antonio Brown needs help,
Okay.
and I think he needs a special kind of help that we can't offer as a public group. I think he needs to go find somebody who can be that person that tells him no, tells him you need to do these things, and be able to get inside of that head and be able to convince him that the things that he's doing is not correct or not right or not proper, and that he needs to change his mentality as well as look at things that he's done to negatively impact his career and his lifestyle, and to be contrite and apologize for some of those things, and just understand that you need to fix yourself.
Okay, I you know, the issue I have with him is, you know, when you look at the domestic violence, when you look at, you know, when I saw the video of him, the way he was treating his children's mother, I guess that was the thing there for that just really kind of, you know, it's like, look, you know, I get it. Couples argue, couples have disagreements, but it was just like he was very belligerent, and he did it in front of the kids, you know, just talking down to the mother, and then the sexual assault allegations. It's just been a whole thing, you know, what he did to the Patriots. You know, if you can't get along with Bob Kraft, you know, the Raiders bring you in. I mean, you basically get the opportunity to play with three really great franchises. When you look at some of the cornerstone franchises in the NFL, when you look at the Steelers, you know, the consistency of the Steelers. When you look at the Raiders, I mean, the Raiders aren't what they used to be, but when you look at the Al Davis Raiders, cornerstone franchise, just win, baby. You look at John Gruden, and you look at Mike Mayock, and then you get a chance with the Patriots, who've been probably the most dominant dynasty ever, maybe the greatest coach ever, and you just can't. Then you get another tryout for the Saints. They tell you not to bring your entourage. You bring your entourage. The incident in the locker room with the Steelers, with, you know, when Mike Tomlin's talking after the game and you're on Facebook Live. So I don't know. But here's the thing about it. This is how it works, and unfortunately, this is what it is. When you're talented, you're given more chances. And, you know, shout out to my man Devon, the professional Stanfield. We had a little conversation offline about when you're talented, you get chances. And I'm not saying that I don't want to compare T.O. and Antonio Brown, but when you're talented, what's going on now? When you're talented, you get chances. When you look at the Josh,
is there a comparison there? Is there a comparison between T.O. and A.B.? Because T.O. never did anything like A.B. has done.
And that's not the comparison that I'm making. Yet everything that hear me out on this. Everything that Antonio Brown has done is way worse. What I'm talking about is when you're a troubled player, whether it's suspensions, whether it's cussing the coach out, whether it's doing sit-ups in your driveway, whether it's beating up your girlfriend. People, when you have talent, you know, or whether it's drug or alcohol issues, when you have talent, you get extra chances. If you're a scrub and you're a backup player, you're not going to get those type of opportunities. The bottom line is Antonio Brown is one of the best receivers to ever play.
Yeah.
He's one of the best receivers that ever played. So he's going to get those opportunities that other players don't get. Dre, what's your take on Antonio Brown? First off, the 8-game suspension, and secondly, the Ravens talking about Lamar Jackson talking about he wants to go to the Ravens.
Well, hold on a minute. I want to address something in the comments real quick. Ricky Williams.
Okay.
So what you're saying, Marcus, is you had to whine and cry like Tomlin. I mean, you're talking about Mike Tomlin.
Thank you.
Instead of having a good time trying to get out of his feelings. I think Ricky Williams, I think you need to explain what you're talking about, because Mike Tomlin wasn't doing any whining and crying. I don't understand any of that.
Once again, look, the whole Mike Tomlin thing. The bottom line is players. If you're talented, generally, for all the stuff that the NFL says, if you're talented, you get chances. We see players that beat up their girlfriends, and first and foremost, I want to say that we here on the Alphabet Sports Show, the Rise Up podcast group, and the OnPoint Network, we do not condone sexual assault, physical assault, any of those things. What we're saying is the NFL has shown in the past that if you're talented, you're going to get another chance. You look at a guy like Kareem Hunt, smacked around, gets kicked off of the Chiefs. He's on the Browns now. You look at Josh Gordon with all of with all the stuff he had going on with drugs and alcohol. You look at all of the stuff that Antonio Brown has gotten into. Hell, they caught LeGarrette Blount and Le'Veon Bell smoking weed right next to a cop car. And they both had jobs. And I think LeGarrette Blount went on with the Eagles and won a Super Bowl. So if you're talented, you're going to get chances. So I think Antonio Brown, somebody's going to take a chance on him, because there's always a GM or a coach out there who thinks, hey, I can change this guy. And William Ricker, I'm with you. I'm with you. I think his problems are way more advanced, but somebody's going to give him a chance, because the guy is one of the greatest receivers to ever play. That's just what it is.
Ricky, he didn't say he was sulking after a loss. Mike Tomlin was actually giving a way to go, giving them hell, because we just won a game, and it was after the game talk that head coaches have with their teams, and he was recording the whole thing.
Yeah.
That was the problem.
And here's the thing: there are certain things that are said in the locker room that stays in the locker room. It's like with Vegas. What's done in Vegas stays in Vegas. What's said and done in the locker rooms, it stays in the locker room. You don't go out and you don't film things that your coach is saying or your teammates are saying in confidence. So, moving on to the next subject,
Melissa just made a good point, though. Melissa Markovich Bowden says, you're right, Marcus, in some senses. But then you look at, say, Michael Vick, and people don't want to give a second chance.
That's the thing. There's been guys like Ray Lewis that was facing murder charges.
Yeah.
And then you got a guy like Michael Vick who, I own 3 pit bulls. I love dogs, but this guy spent time in federal prison for fighting dogs. And once again, we at the Alphabet Football Talk Show and the Rise Up family and the OnPoint Network, we don't condone dog fighting. Okay, we don't do that. But human life, dog life. You get one guy who gets to go on and have a Hall of Fame career, and the other guy who was nearly destroyed, lost his $100 million contract with the Falcons, went to federal prison, and then when he finally did get signed with the Eagles, there were people protesting it. So we have to prioritize that. Dre, your thoughts on Antonio Brown, real quick.
First and foremost, I want to thank y'all for letting me come on the show. As y'all see, I'm dapper as hell. It's some fine, phenomenal folks, handsome and pretty mother on this show right now. William, man, you got that right. That cornerstone right there. Trey White is the best shutdown. Absolutely. As we talk about Antonio Brown, I think the difference between him and Terrell Owens is that Terrell Owens played a character as far as what he did in the NFL. Terrell Owens was a character. He always was feisty. He was about as feisty as a quarterback usually is, and was very, very super outspoken. AB, on the other hand, had a lot of mental issues. A lot. Still has a lot of mental issues. Has dipped and dabbed in a lot of different things. Sometimes, like I've said, with power comes responsibility. With fame comes responsibility. And I think AB was just one of those people that was, you know, the fame and everything was just getting to him to the point where sometimes you break down. Everything that's good to you ain't good for you sometimes. So I just want to put that out there. They're not alike whatsoever. I want people to stop thinking that AB and T.O. are alike.
And something else too, Andre, I want to add something to what you just said, because I actually agree with you 100%. And people want to say it was that Vontaze perfect hit. That's when you saw the change in AB. AB has been this way throughout his whole life. People got to understand this. This didn't just start out in the NFL. He had problems with the first college that he went to as well, and got kicked out of that college. Let's not forget that.
Yeah.
We on ladies' night, Ada and I on ladies' night had that whole conversation where I broke it down for everyone exactly what happened. The Vontaze perfect hit definitely, I think, kind of rattled some bolts loose, but that wasn't the only thing that happened to AB. AB was troubled even growing up because I think a lot of it had to do with his home life as a kid. I mean, the kid was thrown out by his stepfather at the age of like 12, 13 years old. He was thrown out of the house. So, he had to learn to survive on his own. Not only did he have to survive, but, he had to try and figure out a way to make something out of himself. Granted, when you're that age, you don't make the best decisions in the world. Hey, Dennis, good to see you. I'm glad you could finally make it.
I want to respond to one of the comments. Ricky Williams, do you think AB did his suspension weeks 3 through 17 last year? I'm just saying I think it's a bit overboard. It's just my opinion. No, because he got fired. He got fired. He got cut from the Patriots.
So Marcus, can I interject real quick? I think 8 games was too much. And let me also say this. I think 8 games was too much. I would have respected 6, first and foremost. And then secondly, too, AB's going to get picked up. Watch. Seattle's going to pick him right up. It's a Seattle-like move. Seattle will pick him up as soon as he's done getting suspended. Russell Wilson has already lobbied for this guy. And if you know anything about Russell Wilson, and you know anything about Pete Carroll, I would not be shocked.
I don't know if you can see the slide right now. I honestly think he goes to the Ravens.
Ravens.
He's actually been training with him and Lamar Jackson and Hollywood Brown. They actually got in trouble when they were really doing the quarantine. They were out and they were taking pictures and putting them on social media, and they got in a lot of trouble for that. I think he wants to play with his cousin. I think he wants.
Just said, did Antonio Brown retire? Because he did. He did say he was retired and he was done.
But again, he signed the papers.
He plays that little game all the time because he's bipolar. I mean, the guy he can't keep his emotions straight for more than 5 minutes. He's got the attention span, so I think he ends up.
Hey, that's kind of an insult to us people who are bipolar. Just so you know.
Okay. How about tripolar?
Multiple personality disorder. But here's my take. Here's my take, and I disagree some with Ricky here, and I'll explain why. So we look at Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt missed 17 games. He missed a chunk of the season because he got cut and let go and fired. And then when they finally decided his suspension time, 8 to 10 weeks had already passed, and then they gave him 8 games again on top of that. It's what happens after the investigation is complete is when your time clock starts. Between the time you get fired or you get put on the commissioner's exempt list, that doesn't count towards your good behavior time. That doesn't work. That's not how the league has the CBA set up.
Yeah.
So
And it shouldn't be.
You get put on the commissioner's exempt list. That investigation begins that day, and however long it takes, it's just like going to court. If it takes 4 years to go to court for a murder trial, that's what it takes, and then your sentence begins. Sometimes the judge will add and give you good behavior count, but again, when you're getting 165 years, 3 months is not going to make a difference, and that's the concern, and that's why we're saying they don't care. That's why 8 games. I'm okay with 8 games. Kareem Hunt got 8 games for what he did because he needed to have an example set. Somebody needs to.
People are having problems hearing you, William.
Also, Dalton Smith, he says, if any team saw AB, would they place him on the commissioner's exempt list?
He's
No,
on there.
the commissioner's exempt list is for players that are kind of like in limbo, where they're waiting for punishment.
Yeah.
Now that the NFL has announced that he's got 8 games, then now these teams, they just have to look at, okay, so if I sign him now, I won't have him until week 9. But the thing about being suspended like that is he can't come to the facilities. That's the thing there, where teams are a little bit squeamish to touch him because it's like, okay, if I sign this guy, but I don't really think that'll be a problem with AB. AB always keeps himself in shape. He's always working and always training, so I don't think you really have to worry about that as far as him. So let's move on. And Dennis, I want you to jump in for the next one. Another little thing that happened in the news this week recently. Shady McCoy, he was kind of in limbo. I think he was a healthy scratch a few weeks with the Chiefs last year. I don't think he even suited up for the Super Bowl and for the AFC Championship. I don't believe for either one of those he did. So there was talk of him going back to the Eagles. I think the Eagles are pretty content with Miles Sanders. So he got picked up, signed with the Patriots yesterday, I believe. Because they're
signed by Tampa Bay Buccaneers for 1 year, $1 million.
Tampa Bay,
$1 million.
Their rookie, that they're really high on, Keyshawn Vaughn, I believe that's his name, Keyshawn Vaughn. He ended up on a COVID list. They're really high on him, and I don't really think they're that high on Ronald Jones. What does and I'm going to start off with you on this.
Shady went to Tampa Bay, not Seattle.
Yeah.
That's what I said. Dennis, your mic is off, fam.
Yeah, well, I was happy for him to go to Tampa Bay. He did just say on his Instagram that he wanted to win another Super Bowl. A lot of players reached out to him and said, well, you come to Philly. And the next thing you know, he signed with Tampa Bay. So I'm happy for him to go to Tampa Bay. I know there's a lot of fantasy football people that are happy that he went to Tampa Bay. So we'll see exactly how it goes. Man, the fact that me and you are fantasy football guys, I wouldn't take a stab at him so fast. But I'll take him if somebody forget about him.
You think he has anything left in the tank?
I believe he got 1,000 yards left in him.
Okay.
I think he got about 600 yards left in him. I think
600.
I believe he got
I think
1,000.
he's got about 600 to 800 yards left in him. He's going to have a boatload of receptions in that offense. The way Brady likes to throw to his backs, and Shady's kind of one of those.
So look at the offense. The offense is guaranteed to give 3,800 yards without him.
Oh, agreed.
Right.
So again,
TC said he might not even make the roster. I don't agree with that. I think
for $1 million,
I think that's the only. I think that's the only thing. I think that's the only thing that's really missing from Tampa. They're loaded at tight end. They're loaded at wide receiver. They got a future Hall of Fame quarterback in Tom Brady. Ronald Jones has shown not too much. And like I said, the rookie that they were really high on, Keyshawn Vaughn, he's on the COVID exempt list. So I think Shady can go in there He doesn't have to be the man like he was in Buffalo or Philly. He can just go in there and be a cog in a very explosive offense. And I think if you're doing that and you give him 12 to 15 carries a game, I think he'll be just fine. So, he was a healthy scratch in the Super Bowl, but they had Damian Williams, and Damian Williams is a pretty damn good player. I think he's very underrated.
Say what you're about to say. The Super Bowl MVP.
He should have been the Super Bowl MVP. So without a doubt. So moving on to the last part of the last part of the news. Everybody was wondering what would happen. I knew what was going to happen. We talked about this last week on the Alphabets Football Talk Show. And if you look at some of the other shows, you look at the AFC Feast, my man, Jets fan, he broke it down. We knew Jamal Adams was going to leave the Jets. Okay, we knew that was going to happen. They finally got a deal done. He ended up in Seattle, which I think is a great spot for him. I think that NFC West is going to be loaded. You look at Arizona. You look at NFC champ, NFC defending NFC champ 49ers. You got the Rams rebounding. I think he might be the best safety they've had over there since Earl Thomas and Cam Chancellor. I think he brings a lot, with the style of the aggressive defense that they like to play. They gave up 2 first-round picks and a third for him. Is that correct, Will?
2 first rounds, a third.
And a third, and they swatched.
And they also
traded
the 4.
They sent the 4. The Jets sent the 4 to the Seahawks. But I mean, that's a pretty nice. The Jets they can begin their rebuild, get some help around Sam Darnold, and then the Seahawks, they get a playmaker on the defensive side of the ball. One of the best young safeties. I don't know if Ramona will say the best, but I think she's pretty high on her guy. But that. What are your thoughts on that trade, Will? What's your thoughts on that? Him moving out of your division and going over to.
I think the Jets won this trade at this point. As much as Seattle needed help in that secondary to kind of lock it up and kind of get a better player back there to help out in that safety spot and kind of try to build the Legion of Boom 2.0. I think the Jets in the long term won because now the Jets have 2 first-rounders in the next 2 years and an additional third. Plus, they picked up a playable safety that they got also with this trade. And so I just think the Jets, if you can add the pieces that you need to, and you've got a GM who drafted very well in this draft, in his first draft out as the Jets GM, I think if you give him the power and control that he needs, you're putting yourself right in that position in 2 years' time that you'll be right behind the Bills and the Dolphins and the Patriots, depending on how the Patriots go. You're going to be in that mix, and you're going to be in 2 years' time right back where you're supposed to be, and everybody will be battling for that AFC East instead of just 2 or 3 teams. It'll be a whole bunch of teams. It'll be all 4 of them instead of just 1 or 2 like it is this year, like most people suspect. It'll be the Bills or the Patriots. So the Dolphins, I'm not counting them out either. That defense is atrocious, as in fierce. They got a lot of tenacity. They got some depth that I'm scared of. They've got a rebuilt offensive line or defensive line. They got a secondary that's super killer. I just worry about that offensive line on the Dolphins side. They've got some weapons on the offense. Can they keep Fitzpatrick upright? Real quick note, Tua did not get stuck on the PUP list. He is healthy. He is ready to go. He cleared his physical, so he is out there practicing with the team as we speak right now, just for those that are wanting a Tua update. Tua is out there practicing, so Tua could compete for the number 1 job if they decide that's what they want to do with that. So we'll see how that goes. But I think the Jamal Adams trade worked out best for the Jets. And good luck to Seattle. If you can make a Super Bowl win out of the next 2 years on Adams's thing, then you win the trade. And that's fine. I get that. But I don't see Seattle winning a Super Bowl with contenders like Kansas City still being the number 1 team that you have to beat out. I don't see it.
Okay, Ramona, your thoughts on the Jamal Adams trade? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I have to agree with William. I think that in the long run, yeah, I think Jamal Adams steps right in and helps Seattle defensively. But I still think in the long run, the Jets got the better of the deal. I granted, we all know how I feel about Jamal Adams supposedly being the number one safety. And I just don't think that he is. I don't think he's any better than Minka Fitzpatrick. And I proved that on 2 different occasions on 2 previous shows with the stats that Pro Football put out. But that being said, they're 2 different types of safeties. One's playing up close to the line, the other one's out a little bit further in the back. So you have to kind of range them that way.
Well, and I also was, when you were saying that, the way I ranged them too is one was still under Adam Gase and one left Adam Gase.
Right.
That's the way I arranged it. So we'll see what Jamal looks like without Adam Gase this year.
Well, and also you got to think too. One was with Adam Gase, and their defense was not the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. I mean, Minka stepped into a great defensive scheme, and it seems to be fitting him quite well. Right. Now, will Jamal Adams transfer his defensive mindset to what Seattle runs? I think he will. I think he'll be a lot better there than what he was in New York.
I think he has a little bit more range than even Earl Thomas. He's a bigger, faster, stronger.
To be honest with you, I thought they was building a new boom over there. New Legion of Boom.
He's that person.
Good possibility.
They've already said so after 20. So that works out good for them. So that's the news, everybody. That's pretty much the news. Training camps are starting up, but as you know, every year on the NFL Network, they do the NFL Top 100s, and there's always a big discrepancy about it because they're like, okay, is this for what they did for the previous year, or are we forecasting what they're going to do for the next year? So we wanted to cover 2 positions that really stuck out to us. We talked about this in the pre-production meeting, and there were 2 positions we really wanted to cover. If we have time, we'll try to maybe get to a third. But the first position that I really wanted to cut, that we all agreed to cover, was cornerbacks. Those shutdown corners that go out there and try to lock down these number 1 receivers. And we sat up and we debated on this off the air. Had a nice friendly disagreement going back and forth on who we thought should have been here, should have been there, who might have been cheated out of a position. So as you can see on the screen, we have the corners that really stood out to us. And I'm going to start off with the First Lady. And when you look at this list, is there anything that stands out to you that you're that you see on here that either you agree with, disagree with, guys that are a little too high, a little bit too low? What are your thoughts on this list?
Well, I think ever who come up with this list was smoking crack or sniffing coke or something.
Blue.
Just to be honest with you.
Right,
or all of the above.
I was about to say it might have been at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. They could have been doing all of the above. This list is absolutely hideous.
Quick disclaimer: we at the Alphabets Football Talk Show and the Rise Up family, the OnPoint Network, do not own drug or alcohol. Go ahead, Ramona.
Rise up.
I honestly, I really felt like my intelligence dropped when I looked at this list.
I agree.
Okay. So
That's all I got to say about it. Now, if you want to talk about players I thought were snubbed,
we'll get to that.
We'll get to this.
I know we're going to get to that. I understand. I have nothing to say about this crap. I have nothing to say about it. I mean, the list of how's Patrick Mahomes?
Oh, we'll get there.
No, at least number 2.
We'll get to quarterbacks. We got to stay on quarterbacks.
I have nothing. You just go on.
Okay, well, go ahead. Go ahead, Dennis. What do you think about this list?
On the list of players, I didn't like the fact that, I'm not so mad that Stephen Gilmore is in the top 10. I believe he won Defensive Player of the Year. Respectfully, he should be in the top 10. I'm just the fact that after Stephen Gilmore, it should have been Tre'Davious White. But they had after Stephen Gilmore, and I want to make sure I look at this right. After Stephen Gilmore, I think the next best corner was Richard Sherman. After Richard Sherman, it was Jalen Ramsey, and then it was Tre'Davious White. And then it was Marlon Humphrey. Now, Jalen Ramsey and Richard Sherman did not have a better season than Tre'Davious White and Marlon Humphrey. That's just in my opinion. Like, those were the top 3 corners this season, in my opinion.
Okay. I see William. I see William Richter already preparing himself, and I think after working with him for so long, I think I know what direction he's heading. But I'll let him speak for himself.
Don't make me have to put the whole guard back on, because I'll go anti-fascist all over this list. This list is atrocious from the start. I'm sorry. Tre'Davious White is the shutdown corner in the league. There's nobody else that's better right now. And he's the youngest kid, and he wants to play out his contract because he said that's the deal he signed. He is better than the Patriots cornerback far and away. Like, he should have been number 9 or 12 or 15 or whatever. Put Gilmore in at 2. If you want to go 1A, 1B, but don't disrespect Tre'Davious White by sticking him at 47. There's absolutely no way that Richard Sherman or Jalen Ramsey last year was better than Tre'Davious White. The numbers prove it.
This list isn't based off of last year. This is based off
people's feelings.
Always got confused because, trust me, when I would watch this show, I would nearly want to pull my TV off of the wall. Like, that's how mad. When I would hear some of the suggestions and some of the rankings on there, I'd be like, how is this dude better? How do y'all? Because this is with the players. This is what the players. This isn't just some sports writers or some journalist or somebody who doesn't know sports. This list is made up from the players. So this is what the players think. So I'm not going to discredit the players because
Well, then the players are smoking crack.
But again, are we playing a popularity contest? That's great. Okay, well, we'll see in the next category when we get there that apparently a popularity contest is what gets you in, because some people on this panel disagree with why certain players are on there or not. But we'll get into that in a minute. But my problem is I think Darius Slay should have been the 3rd best cornerback on that list, based on the way he played, the way he did his thing. Now, don't get me wrong. Trey White is Top's guy. Whatever the case might be, just because he's in a smaller market, he doesn't get to see everybody, doesn't get to meet everybody. All the players haven't got to meet him yet. Maybe that's the case. I don't know. But whatever the case might be, Sherman doesn't deserve to be up there. Ramsey doesn't deserve to be up there after the way they played. I get it, players. But let's not make it a popularity contest. Let's take a little bit of both, and let's use some common sense here, and let's go hit at it. So, I'm just so frustrated with that list. It's just brutal.
William.
Yeah.
Andre's trying to get back in.
Okay, 1 second. Let me see where he's at. I'm not seeing him on the list to come back in, so he needs to send a request, and I'll pop him in.
So I'm looking at this, and look. All the time I get called a Buffalo Bills hater. And it hurts my feelings. I'm a very sensitive guy. I'm very sensitive. I know I look like an MMA fighter, but I'm very sensitive. You know, when I hear stuff like that, it just really hurts my feelings. You know, so look, I think Trey White is one of the top 3 cornerbacks in the league. I wouldn't have a problem with somebody saying he's from the first to the third best. I would have no issue with that. No. So I think he's definitely better than Darius Slay. Now, if you want to go back and forth, we can have a debate over him and Stephon Gilmore. Stephon Gilmore, defensive player of the year. That's just what it is. For whether you agree with it or not, that's what it is. I thought Damian Williams should have been I thought he should have been the Super Bowl MVP. They gave it to Patrick Mahomes. So you're going to always have discrepancies and disagreements with it. But look, you got to give a person their due. Tre'Davious White is one of the top corners in the league. You shouldn't look. There's a lot of favoritism that goes on in the NFL. Now, like I said, with the whole Stephon Gilmore thing, if we want to have this thing, you know, you want to have a debate about that, let's do it. But if you say that Darius Slay is better than Trey White, I have an issue with that because I don't even think it's close. I don't even think it's close at all. So I don't know. Somebody's going to have to go back and explain this to me. And then here's the thing about it. You know, just like with the Madden ratings, all the time we hear the discrepancy with the Madden ratings and stuff like that. You know, here's your opportunity. Prove it. Go out there this year. If you don't like the ratings, you don't like what these guys think about you, you think you're underrated or they have your speed too slow, racing too slow, or whatever stat it is, this is your opportunity. If you're a team that thinks that you're getting slept on, Buffalo Bills, you think that people aren't giving you your respect, sometimes with respect, you go and beat the crap out of somebody. You don't ask for respect. You don't ask for respect.
Buffalo did in Dallas last year.
Ramona, look, I'm trying to get my PTSD worked on. I don't need that type of negativity coming my direction.
Get him, Ramona.
He's been triggered.
I will say this though.
I couldn't resist. Sorry.
And that's fine. That's fine. I'm sure that you and Will, y'all got a couple of sneaky slides somewhere hiding up in here. But you know. When you're on the biggest stage and you get the opportunity on those type of stages like Buffalo did with Dallas during Thanksgiving, or Tre'Davious White, you know, you really want to prove that you're the best corner in the league. This season, you're going to get to prove it. You're going to get your opportunity when you face the Kansas City Chiefs and you got to go see Tyreek Hill. When you face San Francisco, when you face, you know, the NFC West, AFC West teams, you're going to get your opportunity, and you go out there and you lock these guys down. It's indisputable. I remember when Richards. Go ahead.
My problem, and I'm trying to explain this to people. Tre'Davious White gives up less than 100 yards to every receiver as a number one. And the stats are there. Less than 100 yards to every number one receiver he's faced. And by the way, when the Patriots had Gronk out there on the field, who was sticking out there playing Gronk? And who did Gronk go get tagged by? Tre'Davious White. Who's the only one who's made Gronk lose his mind and punch somebody? Tre'Davious White. He's never had that kind of frustration come from another cornerback smaller than him who could man up and stop everything that was thrown his way. I'm telling you, Tre'Davious White, hands down, is better than Stephon Gilmore.
Well, I'm looking in here and I have to agree with him. We disagree a lot. TC saying Trey White got slapped by D-Hop in the play game, and he did.
In the first quarter, he did. But go watch the rest of the game. He allowed 4 passes in that first quarter. After that, he had no catches. 0 catches after that.
I understand, but there's points in the game. For instance, if you look at the Super Bowl with Richard Sherman covering Sammy Watkins or covering Tyreek Hill, there were times, critical moments in the game where he didn't show up, where there were big plays that were game-changing plays in the course of the game that really hurt them. I still think that Trey White, cornerbacks get burned, guys. That's what happens. Deion Sanders got burned. Rod Woodson got burned. Revis Island got burned. It happens. But Richard Sherman, he used to call himself Optimus Prime because he'd go against Calvin Johnson, who was called Megatron. So you're gonna get beat sometime. But I don't like the fact that Tre'Davious White doesn't get the credit he deserves. You all hear me talk bad about Josh Allen all the time. I don't feel that way about Trey White. I feel like Trey White doesn't get the respect he deserves, but I do believe that this season he's really going to get an opportunity to prove himself. And then when you look at some of the wide receivers in the AFC East, who he's going to face twice, when you look at a guy like Devontae Parker, who I think is ascending, I think that he's ascending, and then you see a guy like Cam Newton going to the Patriots, a mobile guy, where he's going to have to cover longer because of Cam's mobility. So, I mean, a guy like N'Keal Harry has a little bit more time to uncover because Cam Newton can make plays with his feet as compared to the things that Tom Brady was just a statue. So,
again,
let me
I'll defund on this one here. We had the Cleveland Browns last year. Baker Mayfield is a mobile quarterback to some extent. You had Jarvis Landry and OBJ. Trey White got stuck on Jarvis Landry because Jarvis Landry was the truer number 1. And Jarvis Landry didn't have a game. So again, when you're watching these things about mobile quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson, when they played against Lamar Jackson, how did Hollywood Brown or whoever they played against? He didn't have a game. Dak Prescott is a semi-mobile quarterback. How did their number 1 fare? He got a couple of good catches in the first quarter, but after that there was nothing because he realized who he was playing. This is how Trey White plays. The first quarter is his feeling out, and he's just like Jerome Bettis. The later in the game, the better he gets. The later the game gets, the more intensity, the more pressure, the more that puts on his shoulders to make a play, he gets better. And he gets better by the numbers, and you can see it, and the numbers are there, and the proof is in the pudding. He might give up the yards in the first quarter, but in the fourth quarter, when you need an interception, a knockdown, a stop, he's got you, and you have nothing to worry about.
Put that list back up again. I want to look back. Somebody else who I really wanted to talk about, and we briefly covered. We talked about Stephon Gilmore. We talked about Trey White. We talked about Gary. So let me ask you guys this, and I really want to know what everyone in the comment thinks about this. Give me your top 3 corners, 1 through 3.
My top 3 corners: Tre'Davious White.
Get it.
Tre'Davious White, Stephon Gilmore, Marlon Humphrey.
Marlon Humphrey.
Humphrey.
Okay. Ramona?
I'm trying to think what is that kid for the Vikings?
Xavier Rhodes?
Oh, yeah, them crossroads is
I
burnt.
don't even think he's on the Vikings anymore. I think they cut him.
No, he got traded or cut.
He got cut.
That's not who I'm thinking then. Trying to remember. It's one of those teams out west, but I can't remember the guy's name. But I still think the top 2 are White and Gilmore.
Okay. Will?
Trey White,
1 through 3.
Trey White, Stephon Gilmore, Jalen Ramsey.
And I finally figured out who this J guy is. He's a buddy of TC, so Yeah,
He's
that's
Dolphins
why.
fan.
That's why he's giving me
Dolphins
hell
fan.
in the comments.
He's Dolphins fan on the
He
AFC.
says Adams, Gilmore, Byron Jones. Adams is a safety. Adams is a safety, but okay. Look, I think the guy who we
make the list.
as a Cowboys fan, let me tell you, Byron. Now, don't get me wrong, Byron Jones, he's a hell of a corner. I don't have him in my top 3. I think he just really. I think he just robbed. I don't want to say that. The Dolphins had money to spend, so they spent it. Byron Jones is a very good corner. He will probably lead the league in breakups, but he ain't intercepting anything. And with my corner, I want a guy who's going to lock down the other team's best wide receiver. I want a guy who, when he gets his hands on the ball, will intercept it and give my offense extra opportunities during the course of the game. So I think the guy that we're leaving out of this, and Will, you just mentioned them.
I meant Jalen Ramsey. It's who I was talking about.
Yeah, I think Jalen Ramsey's up there. I just think that the Rams defense, they're hurting because of the moves that they made during their Super Bowl run. They went all in. They pushed all their chips to the center of the table, and it didn't pay off. They lost a lot of these guys, and then what the Rams gave up to get him, giving up 2 first-round picks. I don't think the Rams have a first-round pick again next season. They didn't have one this season. They're not going to have another one next season. What they gave up to pay Jared Goff, paying Ndamukong Suh, paying Marcus Peters, paying Aqib Talib, paying Clay Matthews Jr., all of these guys, all of the money that they gave to Todd Gurley, who's no longer on the team, giving up draft capital as far as draft picks. So now they almost have to keep Jalen Ramsey, and I don't think he's going to be on a team that's going to be able to that they'll be able to surround him with other defensive players that will make him look as good as he really is. Is that? And I think that that's fair.
Melissa has a question for you in the comments.
I've told this story a couple of times. Actually, me and William, we're from the same hometown. Shout out to everybody in Clovis, New Mexico, and Melissa, Fred's also from Clovis. Well, he's from Tampa, but he grew up in Clovis. So Frederick Wilson. Shout out to our colleagues over on the community side and on the Love Show that comes on right before this. But me and William Ricker, we're both from Clovis, New Mexico. I actually was born in Chicago, and my dad was in the Air Force at the time, and we moved. There's a small Air Force base there called Cannon Air Force Base, and is your dad worked there too, right, Will?
As a civilian, yep.
As a civilian, my dad was in the Air Force, so. Coming from Chicago, we in the late 70s. At the time, there was, I had the choice between the Broncos, the Cowboys, or the Oilers. There were no Houston Texans. The Arizona Cardinals were still in St. Louis, and my mom liked the show Dallas. J.R. Ewing, and the opening, I'm really showing my age here. You're making me show my age here. But at the beginning of the show, they would do the flyover of the old Texas Stadium and that big old star, and I just fell in love. So that's that. But Williams.
Hey, I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
Tell Melissa who you'd be a fan of if you weren't a Cowboy fan.
I look. If I wasn't a Cowboys fan, I would probably be either a Steelers or a Raiders fan.
Oh, you never said Raiders before in the past.
Hear me out. I have said this. Look,
yes.
on, like in high school and stuff, people used to call me Marcus Bettis, like Jerome Bettis. And then when he went to the Steelers, I'm like, my name is not Bettis, it's just Betts. There's no I in between it. And I start watching Jerome Bettis later on, and I loved it. And I just always like the black and gold. I love that. But growing up, even younger, early '80s, everybody was rocking the NWA and Ice Cube and Easy E, and they would walk around with the Raiders jacket and the Raiders cap. Hell, I even wore a couple of.
See, now you're really dating yourself.
Yeah, the LA Kings, with Wayne Gretzky back in the day. Everybody was rocking that. So I'm getting just a little. You got me up here talking hockey and all kinds of stuff. So
wait a minute, I didn't see that look.
So yeah, so I want to know everybody in the comment section, who do you feel like looking at the corner list, because we're about to move on to the next topic. Before we move on, I want to give everybody an opportunity to chime in on this. As far as your corners, who are your top 3 corners in the league? What is your biggest discrepancy as far as the corners list? And then we're gonna move on to our next position, and we'll come back to it. We'll come back to this. We'll probably have a little bit of time on the show. We're at the hour mark right now. We got about 40 minutes left, but we're gonna move on to the next position, and that's the glamour guys right there. That's the glamour guys. We're gonna go with the next position group. We're gonna go with the quarterbacks.
Ooh.
We're gonna move on to the cornerback. The quarterbacks. Quarterbacks. Excuse me.
The field generals.
The field generals, and this got really heated. We had some serious debate as far as this. I got phone calls about this. Some of my buddies, we really got into a heated discussion. And I'm looking at this list, and I'm just like, wow. And William, I'm gonna throw this over to you. Looking at this list, ready, set, go.
Patrick Mahomes, why aren't you number 1? You were a Super Bowl MVP and a Super Bowl champion. I'm sorry. Lamar Jackson, you've earned your right to be up in the top 10. That's fine. You had a hell of a year. You're not number 1. Russell Wilson, the money you're getting paid, the things that you're doing on that football squad being 80% of the offense, I'm fine with him being a top 5, top 10. Drew Brees, that's fine. Brady, why with that such a horrible season, why are you sitting up at 14? You should be sitting in the back 50s and 60s. Deshaun Watson sitting right about pretty. Maybe he could have slid up. Aaron Rodgers, again, Rodgers had a horrible season for the most part. Why is he sitting at 16? Jimmy Garoppolo, terrible quarterback. I get you went to the Super Bowl, but why are you at 43? There are better players that play better. Dak Prescott, way better player, should be in the 20s. I don't like Cowboys, but I'm going to give Dak Prescott his due and stick him in the top 15, 20 quarterbacks in position based on that. Kirk Cousins, he had a solid season. I wouldn't bite that it would be top 60. Ryan Tannehill took the Tennessee Titans to the playoffs out of the blue. I'm okay with that one. Josh Allen being at 87, I'll take it. A lot of people don't see eye to eye that he should even be on the list. But when you go 2 years in a row to the playoffs, well, you go 2 out of the last 3 years in the playoffs, and you're the field general, I can't say no. I think it came down to, with him being voted in, a lot of the heart. Look, the Dallas Cowboys play. Like, the jumping over Anthony Barr. Like, it's the Superman dive. It's the route of Minnesota. There's certain things. The running against Jalen Ramsey and then the big strong arming. Like, that's what I think got Josh Allen into this top 100. And then again, Kyler Murray, explosive guy. Could have been in the 60s or 70s too. Again, I think the list wasn't too bad. I think there were some changes, but that's where I see it.
Okay, Go, Dennis. Go. You looking like you got something on your mind, man. Let it go. I need to hear some of that ignorant thing. I need to hear some of that.
First of all, let me say this like this. I don't know who made this quarterback list, but this is a trash ass list. Let me just get that out the way, all right? For those who watch Talk US Tuesday, this is a trash ass list. Lamar Jackson being number one, he did win the MVP. I know everybody that was here last year around this time. Nobody had Lamar Jackson leading the league in touchdowns passes. Nobody. Everybody was saying he was a running quarterback. That man deserved to be the number one player in the league.
He's up there with Jameis Winston. Why ain't Jameis Winston on this list? Just saying.
Jameis Winston threw 30 interceptions. We ain't talking about Jameis Winston. We talking about people who actually touchdowns. We talking about people who came to win. Okay, you got to be a winner to be on this list. Number two, Russell Wilson. Right. I don't have a problem with Russell Wilson because Russell Wilson always got to make something out of nothing. I don't have a problem with him being here. The third person on this list, I want to say Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, Patrick Mahomes is right at the right spot for me. I don't have a problem with that. The problem I have is Drew Brees. How you missed 6 games? They didn't lose a game when you left, and yet you're number 12 on this list. Does not make sense to me at all. Does not make sense to me at all.
Some of this is they can say what they want. Some of this is a popularity contest.
Right.
There's no
Tom Brady. He had an okay year, but it wasn't enough for him to be top 20. I like where Aaron Rodgers is. Aaron Rodgers was cool. Jimmy Garoppolo, he's terrible. Dak Prescott is better than Jimmy Garoppolo. Deshaun Watson was better than Tom Brady and Drew Brees. He should have been up in the top 20s. Inside the top 20, he should have been. Your guy, Mr. Hart, Guts, Glory. Don't forget fumbles when you say that, okay? Don't forget turnovers when you say that, all right? Don't forget losing the game and you have number 2 defense in the league. All right? Don't forget all that part.
By the way, where's your quarterback? Oh, wait, that's
right. My quarterback didn't make the list. My quarterback didn't make the list.
That's right, he didn't.
My quarterback didn't make the list.
Why? Because he didn't finish the games he needed to finish.
He played every game this season. Well,
Until he got to the playoffs and then killed himself.
He got injured.
He became Winsatron, the one that breaks down because he ain't got no grip.
Say this again. I'll say this again. Somebody look. If somebody can answer this question for me, I will send you a custom mask with your favorite team logo on it. If you can answer this question for me, okay? Everybody ready? Tell me another team that drafted a quarterback not in the top 3, in the top 2, not top 2 rounds, the top 2, and then 4 years later they go draft another quarterback in the 2nd round. If you can find me another team in NFL history, the 100-year history of the NFL that they draft a quarterback in the first 2 picks, and then 4 years later they're drafting another quarterback in the 2nd round, I will send to you. You send me your address, and I will send you a custom-made mask with your favorite team logo to your house. That's your homework, ladies and gentlemen.
There isn't another team. It's only the Philadelphia Eagles.
Okay, we'll see. Go ahead, Ramona.
Can I just bring up a name, Ryan Leaf?
Oh my goodness! You're right. You won. Arizona. I didn't even think about Arizona. Right. I didn't think about Arizona. They drafted. I didn't even think about that.
So there you go.
Jay Renard. Jay Renard, I owe you a mask, bro. You send me your address. I didn't even think about that.
He's a Dolphins fan.
Oh, is he really? I thought he was a Patriot fan.
No, he lives in Massachusetts, but he is Dolphins fan on the AFC East. He's one of our AFC East.
Jay Renard, get in my inbox, and I will send you a mask.
He shows his idiocy though when he sits there and talks that the Pittsburgh Steelers have been nothing.
When did Arizona do this? Is what I'm trying to figure out.
The first person, Jay Renard. I didn't even think about that. They drafted Josh Rosen, and then the next season they drafted.
Josh Rosen wasn't no top 2 pick. He was number 10.
Okay, never mind.
He don't win. He doesn't win.
Okay, you don't win. I did say that. I did.
Might be Arizona later on. It might just be farther
I said
back,
with the
that's
top
all.
with the top two.
It just
Okay.
might be Arizona.
Sorry, Jay. I just got connected. Yeah, he was a top two, but I'm saying like a top two pick into the next. Yeah, Jay, you did. We'll figure something else out, bro. I'll send you something else, but you ain't getting the math. But anyways, so I'm looking at so Dennis, you went Ramona. Okay, Ramona's not. I'm gonna speak on this. I have a man. This list, like you said, Dennis. I agree with you on a lot of this. I'm looking at man. How is Drew Brees? Drew Brees. Look, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this as clearly as I can. Patrick Mahomes is not only the best quarterback. He's not just the best quarterback in the league. He's the best player in the league right now. Because I believe playing quarterback is the hardest thing to do in all of professional sports. I think Patrick Mahomes is a generational player that comes along every 10 to 20 years.
Do we dare say a unicorn?
He's a unicorn. He's a and when I say by unicorn, I don't mean by. I mean by his ability to do the things that he does. When you look at Patrick Mahomes, he has Josh Allen's arm strength. He has Josh Allen's arm strength with Aaron Rodgers mobility. Tom Brady's accuracy and touch, his intelligence. I mean, when you're creating a player, Dennis, you're looking like you don't agree. If you don't, I mean, what can Patrick Mahomes?
I love Patrick Mahomes. I love me some Patrick Mahomes, and you gonna make me do this with this debate, and you know what? This is the Alphabet Show. If it's going to be done. Damn it, let's do it. So, Patrick Mahomes comes to a team that already has a top tight end, a wide receiver who runs like a cheetah, actually calls himself a cheetah, and a number 2 wide receiver straight out of Buffalo named Sammy Watkins. Meanwhile, we have a guy who gets drafted by the Baltimore Ravens, and I just want to, by the panel that's here, did y'all know Mark Andrews before the year started? Anybody know who Mark Andrews was? Anybody know about Mark Andrews?
Mark Andrews was a damn good tight end.
Wait.
Don't act like. Look.
Wait, was Mark Andrews ever in the top?
Dennis, don't you.
Was Mark Andrews in the top 5? That's all I'm asking.
Yes.
Mark Andrews was the top 5 tight end to win.
Last year.
No. I said before last season. With Joey Flacco, was Mark Andrews the top 5 tight end?
Stinks. Joe Flacco stinks. I'm not gonna. Joe Flacco. That's
Alex Smith stinks. But what you call him was still a top 5 tight end?
Who?
Kelsey.
Okay, yes. Look, and me and William Richter, we've talked about this. Patrick Mahomes, what pick did he go at?
10.
Patrick Mahomes went pick number 10.
He got
traded out by Buffalo. Buffalo could have taken that pick at 10.
And that's why Buffalo ain't won a playoff game in 25 years. Hold
on a minute now. Hold on. Now we wouldn't have ended up with Tre'Davious White if we did that either.
Okay.
What I'm saying, Tre'Davious White in. We also
what I'm saying is to respond to Dennis, as you go further into the draft. Look, whoever the number 1 pick is, he always ends up on a crappy team. And you can look no further than the 2018 draft.
Wait. Who was the number 1 pick? Neither one of those guys was the number 1 pick.
No, I'm saying in 2018, the Cleveland Browns selected Baker Mayfield, correct?
Right.
Who ended up in a better situation, Baker Mayfield or Lamar Jackson?
It was Lamar Jackson.
Because being the number one pick is cool for the glory because you're the number one pick, but you end up in a crappy team. You end up on a crappy team.
Well, we can also go back to the 2004 draft and the quarterback situation in the 2004 draft.
Exactly. Phillip Rivers.
No, that's not the same thing. Phillip Rivers ain't end up on no crappy team.
No, he didn't.
But
no, he didn't. What happened with Phillip Rivers is
Eli did.
No, what happened with Phillip Rivers is Drew Brees got hurt and they had one crappy season and they ended up with a high draft pick. It's kind of like what happened with San Francisco a couple of years ago. They ended up with the number 2 pick of the draft. They had a good team. They had one bad year and they ended up with Nick Bosa. They end up with Nick Bosa on a team that's already loaded. So it's not the same thing. Lamar Jackson ended up on a team with an awesome defense, a good running game, a Super Bowl winning coach, a great mind.
And wasn't no top wide receiver because I'm waiting for you to say that. Wasn't no top tight end. I'm waiting for you to say that.
That's not their game.
But wait a minute. When he got drafted, what was everybody saying? They drafted another running back. He's nothing but a running quarterback, right?
They did. But I'm saying he ended up in a.
What did he come out and do? What did I tell you about quarterbacks in their second year? They have MVP-ish seasons. Didn't I always say that?
Okay.
He went out and won the MVP and led the league in touchdowns. The first game of the season, he had 6 rushing yards and 6 TDs, 6 passing TDs.
I got you. And he got better. It's not better, but
I'm not saying
you go back and look at that draft. You go back and look at that draft. And if I said who's going to be the better quarterback in 2 years, Baker Mayfield or Lamar Jackson, who are you taking?
I would have took Lamar Jackson all day. If Lamar Jackson went number 1 to the Browns, I still would have took Lamar Jackson all day. I love Baker Mayfield. That's my guy. Baker Mayfield. I love Baker Mayfield. That's the reason why Chuck Thomas makes so much fun of me because Baker Mayfield has won me a lot of money in Oklahoma.
Exactly, me too.
Hey, by the way, I have your answer.
And has Baker Mayfield won you any money since he's been in the NFL?
Yes, he has. His whole rookie season.
Really?
So let me ask all my guests here. Who ended up in a better situation? Baker Mayfield or Josh Allen? Baker Mayfield or Sam Darnold? Baker Mayfield or Josh Rosen? Who ended all of these guys? Because even though they went a few picks later, when you get picked number 1, you're going to a terrible, terrible, terrible team. Terrible. I would dare say, if you look at the draft this year, I would dare say that Jordan Love will start off better than Joe Burrows will. And why is that? Why is that? Because he's on a playoff caliber team. He's sitting behind Aaron Rodgers. He has Aaron Jones. He has Devontae Adams. He has a good coach. Whoever the guys are that go usually a little bit later, they end up having they end up starting off better because they're in a better situation. Joe Burrows is going to be thrown to the wolves, and hopefully he's strong enough to deal with it. But they're going to throw him out there week 1, game 1. Joe Burrows go start. Jordan Love, go sit over here with the clipboard and go watch this guy. That's what's going to happen.
By the way, I have your answer.
Go ahead.
For your trivia question?
Yes.
The 1982 Colts, 1983 Colts.
Who was it?
Arch Lister and then John Elway.
What pick was Arch Lister?
4.
That doesn't count.
That's the closest you can get right now.
that doesn't count. He said top 2 pick. He said top 2.
Now the other one is the 89 and then the 89 supplemental.
Don't nobody care about no stuff. Ain't
now,
nobody.
Hold on, that's a draft. That's a draft in itself. Because 89, they took Troy Aikman in Dallas, and then again in 89 in the supplemental draft, they wasted another number 1 and took Steve Walsh.
Bird live.
This is what I'm going to say on this. The argument was about Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes. All right, this was the argument: Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes. Now, am I going to sit here and say that Lamar Jackson is head over heels the most talented than Patrick Mahomes? No. What I'm saying is Patrick Mahomes came out to a better pitch deal. Lamar Jackson really did. That's the only thing I'm saying. But right now, they're fighting a race right now. And Patrick Mahomes' third year, he won a Super Bowl. Lamar Jackson in his second year won the MVP. If he wins the Super Bowl this year, then what are we going to say about Lamar Jackson now?
He ain't gonna win a Super Bowl.
No, wait, not that. Wait, you didn't think he was gonna win MVP, so we ain't going what you think. If he wins the Super Bowl this year, what are we gonna say about Lamar Jackson then? Because the conversation was, does Lamar Jackson deserve Patrick Mahomes' money? If he wins the Super Bowl this year, what do we say about Lamar Jackson?
Lamar Jackson's been found out. They figured him out last year.
Okay. You know why they figured him out? Because he doesn't have a cheetah on the other side that he can throw the ball to. All right.
Because he's one-dimensional.
Because, like I said again, he doesn't have a cheat. He's one-dimensional.
William Ricker, this is the thing here. And Mookie Hawkins, I see you in here. Don't think I don't see you, Mookie.
Wait. Hold on. I'm sorry. Before you start, if he's one-dimensional, right? You're wearing a Buffalo Bills jersey.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna ask you. I'm not gonna say no names because I'm starting to become a Buffalo Bills hater because I hate the way that y'all just favoritism on just this one guy and y'all act like y'all see the rest of the NFL. Like only Buffalo plays football around here.
No, I didn't say that at all.
Okay, so what do you feel about the other guy? Because he ain't led the league in nothing but fumbles.
Oh, really?
Oh, and the lowest passer completion level.
Oh, hold on a minute now. Whoa.
58.2%.
12 touchdowns and 2 TDs in the last 11 games. Who had that record other than Josh Allen? One other person. One other person had that many. One.
58.2%. Do you know that it's almost, you can almost accidentally pass for 60%. Almost accidentally. Even average quarterbacks like Ryan Tannehill throw for over 60%. You know that, right? Ryan Tannehill.
But yet Aaron Rodgers couldn't do it all last year and averaged 58%. And y'all still vindicate him as the great on-and quarterback at this point in time in his career. Really?
I hear that.
You want to vindicate him?
You know what? Let's talk. If you want to talk about, let's talk about what division does Josh Allen play in, and what division does Aaron Rodgers play in?
The AFC.
Would you say so? He has to face the Bears twice,
who's never
and the Vikings. I'm not a rocket scientist or nothing. But would you say that the Bears defense and the Vikings defense is better than the Jets defense and the Dolphins defense?
I'm going to tell you, Green Bay is exactly like New England. It's their division. When they feel like they want to give it to somebody else, they give it to them for a year. Then that's it, and they take it back and they run it. You want to go look it back? Go look back in the stats. Go look. Green Bay's won the division how many times in the last 20 years? I can guarantee you they've won it a lot more than Minnesota and Chicago have.
Okay, but what I'm saying,
you're telling me.
So are we talking about? Okay, whoa. You don't want to take it to that conversation either. Are we talking about winning? Are we talking about winning divisions?
We are.
Are we talking about winning divisions?
We're talking about quarterbacks who don't have challenges against them because the offenses on the opposite side are just as trash. So think about that.
That's true. Look.
So no offense means you don't have to fight as hard. You don't have to throw as much. You don't have to do nothing. When he throws for 700 attempts in a year and he's completing 56 to 58%, nobody bats an eye at him because he's got 4,000 yards, but he's got nobody to throw against. Josh Allen is throwing against top-tier secondaries in New England and some of the other continents. And
where's the top-tier secondary at? Where?
New England.
The only one is New England.
That's the only one.
That's the only
one. The Jets were a top 10 secondary when they had Revis and they had all those boys out there.
He wasn't there when Revis was there. Josh Allen wasn't there when Revis was there.
No, but they had a secondary last year that was top 10.
You're killing me, Smalls. You're killing me.
Okay, and the Dolphins defense and the Dolphins secondary?
And the Dolphins secondary was ranked, I think, 13th overall last year. So they were a top 15 defense.
All I'm saying is when you play in certain divisions, you kind of get look. You look at a guy.
We had to beat up a Pittsburgh defense that was top 10. We had to beat up a Dallas defense that was top 10. We had to show up against the Ravens.
Don't let them Dallas Cowboy fans fool you. That defense wasn't no top 10.
That defense wasn't top 10.
It was top 10.
It was top 10.
As much as you don't like it, the Ravens.
And as far as if you want to bring up Pittsburgh, in this argument, when you're playing with a 4-string quarterback and the defense and Duck Hodges is giving the ball.
Well, no, there's a whole lot of difference too. By the time Buffalo actually played the Pittsburgh Steelers, that Steelers defense was absolutely worn to a frazzle. Come on. They were the ones winning those games. It wasn't a fourth and third string quarterback winning those games.
Or whoever you had ready to go. You had 10 weeks to get them right. And you had 2 quarterbacks.
We had 10 weeks to get right a 4-string quarterback.
You know this.
God shouldn't even be on an NFL team, in my opinion.
I'll tell you what. Like I said, this season, when you got to face San Francisco, when you got to face Arizona, don't sleep on Arizona.
I'm not sleeping on Arizona at all.
Arizona, San Francisco.
Slept on Arizona.
I actually think Arizona is going to be one of those games that we lose, and I've got it down on paper as one of those.
Big Jay, you know what, Jay? The Steelers' defense was ranked 3rd overall across the board in the NFL last year. Yes, the offense is horrible. That happens when you lose your starting, future Hall of Fame quarterback in week 2.
That was with no offensive production. None.
Exactly.
You lost Juju Smith-Schuster, James Conner missed games, Deontay Johnson missed games, Switzer missed games, Juju Smith, Conner missed games. So look, when you're out there and you have no threat on the offensive side, that puts your defense out there for a long time. Even we'll see this year. Whenever Ben Roethlisberger, and like I said, if he's even 80%, I don't know what Ben Roethlisberger is going to be coming back. I don't know.
It don't matter if he's 110%. They ain't doing much.
Okay, well we'll see. I'm willing to put a little bit of of soda on that. Okay, we're at the hour and a half mark. So the next thing I wanted to move on to biggest snubs. Now we focused on the cornerbacks. We focused on the cornerbacks, but I want to look at overall players that you look on this 100 list, and I challenge everybody out there, if you can, go to NFL.com. If there's something that you see in there, is there a player, one of your favorite players, or some player that you see on there, all positions, whether it's quarterback, cornerback, linebackers, offensive linemen, that you look on there, you're like, okay, where's this guy at? Is there a snub? And I'm going to start off with you on this, Will. Is there a snub that you look on here on the top 100 list, and you're like, where's this guy at? Why is he not on this list? Is there somebody that you see on that list that you're surprised is not in the top 100?
I thought of a couple players for the production, and again, this is production and longevity and friendliness and the way the players would vote. I wonder where Ryan Fitzpatrick fits in this, because he's had to deal with everything. And another guy is Matt Breida, who had a stellar season. Kenyon Drake. These are guys that I'm looking at going, well, where did they get put? Well, I'm not really seeing much of these guys on the list. And if they did get made the list, they're not making it high enough that their production and whatnot, their quality that they gave out last year was comparable. So those are my 3 guys I could think of right off the top of my head.
Ramona, you looking at this list, or anybody on this list that caught who didn't catch your eye because they're not in the top 100? Are there players that you're looking in this top 100 and you're like, where the hell is this guy at? Where's yeah? Is there some names in there that's missing in your opinion?
Yeah, absolutely. I think T.J. Watt deserved better than 25th on that list. I think that Minga definitely deserved better than 35th on that list. And where in the hell is Bud Dupree? Why is Bud Dupree not on this list? Come on, people. Have you lost your mind? Fitzpatrick is trash? Jay? All right, see, Jay, you just showed that you know nothing about football.
Minka Fitzpatrick or Ryan? He's got to be saying
Ryan Fitzpatrick because he said Rosen 2020.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I was like, holy crap, really?
I was about to say, I'm like, Minka Fitzpatrick does not.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, and no. Trey White, definitely it should have been in the top 10 to 15 on this list, in my opinion. And I'm sorry, but Tom Brady definitely didn't belong where he's at. Neither did Drew Brees, to be honest. Somebody's like, "Oh, you're just pissed because Ben didn't deserve to be on that list at all. Not even just barely missing the top 100 because he only played 1.5 games. So yeah, Ben didn't deserve to be on there at all. But yeah, like I said, this list, I'm telling you, this list was made. These people were either on acid or LSD, smoking crack and snorting my white line or something.
And we don't condone none of that here on FCC Airways.
And yes, we do not condone any of that, but I'm just saying.
Or the OnPoint Network.
The NFL shouldn't allow it either.
63-64 right there. Done. I found it. 1963, the Rams took a number 1 pick, and then the year after they took number 7.
There you go.
There it is right there. 1963-64 Rams.
Who was the quarterback?
I will list them right here. Give me 1 second. I'll pull them up. 1963, Terry Baker was taken out of Oregon State by the Rams. And then 1964, they took Bill Munson out of Utah State.
He wants that damn mask.
You wanted that mask bad.
Rise up, Will. There you go.
Right.
He wanted that.
Don't you pull no goddamn supplemental draft out your ass.
He all up on good. I already owe him a Bills mask. So we'll talk offline, and I'll get you squared away with that.
Ramona, I definitely agree with you.
Another one, David DeCastro is not on that top 100. Marquise Pouncey is not mentioned on that top 100.
There weren't a lot of offensive.
He's like the number 2 center in the league, if not number 1.
Mitch Morris got missed. Mitch Morris got missed, and he played quite the
Yeah, I mean, there's so many players that should be on this top 100 list.
Here's a question.
And aren't.
Here's a question for you: is Josh Allen a top 200 player?
Yeah, I heard Colin Cowherd say that. Look, guys.
A top what?
200.
He said he's in the top 200.
He's not even in the top 200 based on Colin Cowherd's
player. Colin Cowherd.
I believe that Josh Allen is a top. He's a top 125 player.
Yeah. I think maybe just outside of the 100.
Yeah, I don't have that much. It's not. This is the thing about me with y'all and Josh Allen, y'all Buffalo Bills fans. I don't have a problem with Josh Allen. I hate when y'all go ahead and nitpick your way into things. Like you said, the last 11 games of the season, he went 12-2.
Yeah,
he didn't just play 11 games.
Yeah,
he got to play all 16 games. Just like you just told me about Carson Wentz. Yeah, but he don't finish games. You got to play them all.
Yes. Dennis, what do I say about fires?
Yeah, listen. You cannot get credit for putting out fires that you started.
You don't get credit for putting it. If I come to your house, okay, and I light it on, I go up there with a bunch of lighter fluid, and I light your house on fire, and your house is burning, and then I come with a bucket of water, and a water hose, and I put out the fire, and I say, "Hey, Will, check it out, man! I put out this fire. Look, I put the fire. Well, you started it. You started it. What the hell are you talking about? gasoline on my house. You don't get credit for. You don't get credit. Oh man, he was 3 of 11 for the first half, but he was 6. He was 11 of 13 the second half. No, you're not getting credit for that. I'm not giving. Yes, you came back and won, but it's like we're in this deficit because you were terrible the first 2 quarters. So I mean look. I think Carson Wentz is a top 100 player. You're making me sit
Dalton
here.
just said another name too that got snubbed. Tremaine Edmonds.
Yep.
I think he definitely belongs on the top.
I think he does too. I have no issue. I have no issue with.
They snubbed my quarterback, but
Oh, by the way, if you really want to contest this, we can go this way too with the Rams. The Rams took Roman Gabriel, and then the following year they took Tony Baker at number 2 pick first year, and then second year they took the number 1 overall. So if you want to go either way, we'll go that way.
No,
they took a 2 and then
Mookie Hawkins. I'm glad you're in the thing. No, look. People say it all the time. Marcus, you just hate Josh Allen. Listen to me closely, okay? Listen to me closely. Once again, you all are watching the Alphabet's Football Talk Show. I'm your host, Marcus Betts, with my lovely co-host, Ramona Diehard.
There, Mr. Marcus.
On the OnPoint Network and the Rise Up family, I got my man, the Ignorant Thinker, and Off the Richter Scales in the house. I do not hate Josh Allen. What drives me crazy with certain people, and I will not mention any names, but their initials are Mookie Hawkins, okay? What drives me crazy is when you all, and my man William Ricker, by the way, and some of you other Buffalo Bills fans out here, just like what Dennis was just bringing up, you all have this high bar for these other quarterbacks. It's like, oh man, he's just a running quarterback. He's one. How dare you call Lamar Jackson one-dimensional? You call him one-dimensional. Who had the most touchdown passes last year, Dennis? I don't recall. Who had the most touchdown passes last year?
Lamar Jackson led the league.
You call him one-dimensional, but then you'll sit up there in the next breath and say Josh Allen. Oh my God! Did you see what Josh Allen did? That's the issue that I have. It's like if you think that Lamar Jackson is not a good quarterback, and you think he's just a running back posing as a quarterback, and that's how you feel, okay. But don't come back in the same breath and be like, did you see what Josh Allen did? Man, he came back and he saved the day. It's like with a 58.2% passer completion. It's the same difference. So if Lamar Jackson is one-dimensional, is Josh Allen one-dimensional? Is Josh Allen one-dimensional? I'm asking you.
At this point, yes. But again, he's going to change. And again, I don't see what Lamar Jackson can do without weapons on the outside. If he's only running the option, if he's running...
What weapons? Wait, what weapons are you talking about? You see any of his wide receivers make the top 100?
Nope.
You see anybody he throw the ball to make the top 100?
Why do you think I called him one-dimensional? Because he's the only offense they got right now.
No, because they're not that good.
Their running game is... Okay, let me ask you this right now. Who has a better wide receiver core as it stands right now? The Baltimore Ravens or the Buffalo Bills? Who's got a better wide receiver?
The Bills. But last year it was dead even. When you look at last year, it was dead even.
No, Mookie Hawkins, I'm not saying you. William Richter just said that. Not you, buddy. Not you. But yeah, I just look. If you're gonna be, if you got to be fair about it. But I will say this, and we've been talking about this. Shout out to my man Ethan Tweedy. If you're watching, buddy, shout out to my man Ronald Enix. Man, we're wishing you well. Can't wait to see you back, man. But this is a make it or break it year for a lot of these quarterbacks. We've been saying this. I don't know what the season's going to look like. With all of this stuff going on, we keep seeing they're canceling baseball games and things like that. They're 1 minute they're, there's been games that have been canceled because of COVID or whatever. A lot of these guys, they're opting out. And that's the next thing that I wanted to talk about before we get ready to get out of here. you see some of the players, some notable players out there, some that kind of popped up in my head. We saw who should have been the Super Bowl MVP, Damian Williams. He opted out of his contract.
Yeah, he said his mom got cancer.
You also see there are a lot of Patriots players that seem to opt out. You look at a guy like Patrick Chung and the linebacker.
Hightower. You got Donta Hightower and Patrick Chung. Donta Hightower just had he's got a baby that's 3 weeks old starting this week. So he's not trying to do anything like that. Patrick Chung. You've got Nate Solder, the former Patriot, now with the offensive line over on the Giants. He's suffered through cancer. His daughter or his child is going through cancer.
Don't opt out my jersey, Marcus.
So, and hold on. Another one came through the list. Anthony Barr from the Minnesota Vikings has opted out for this year. So again, you've got guys and based on what what I'm hearing from what I heard from research earlier today, next Friday is the last day for opt-outs because they hadn't finished the collective bargaining agreement final details. So until that is ratified, which is probably Monday, then it's going to be Friday of next week instead of Monday of this coming week. So you've got one more week basically to decide whether you want to opt in or out of the season. So I would imagine come Wednesday next week, I think we're going to see a ton of people start to pile out, especially if baseball keeps going the way it's going, or the NBA gets a strike, or the NHL. Or
but hockey's doing good. So
hockey just got started literally today. Hockey is just getting going, and it starts.
Okay, but this is the thing that I'm saying about baseball. Like this is what Chuck Thomas was just saying. Shout out to Chuck Thomas. Baseball was not prepared, and they should have been prepared, but they wasn't because you got the Miami Marlins out there want to go to strip clubs and then bring their ass to Philadelphia and go ahead and get 14 people
now they're up to
contacted
20.
With COVID.
Now they're up to 20, 2 coaches and 18 players. And by the way,
and a couple of Philadelphia staff members.
And by the way, the Cardinals have 2 members on their club tested positive for COVID. So their series is done for the weekend. They won't be playing again until next Tuesday. So their games have been postponed for the time being. I'm telling you right now, if there's an East Coast team and a West Coast team that catches this, or like an East, a West, and a Midwest, they all catch it and they start little bits. It's all it takes is one team to have it.
I think baseball should have been played in a bubble.
But again, the problem is if trying to put that many players in a single bubble, it does not work. It's just like the NFL. You have too many players. You've got 30 or 40.
No, NFL is not going to work. But baseball, it could have worked.
Baseball's got 30 people per team. You can't do that. Hockey has less than 15 players on a bench.
No, you can do it. Have you seen Disney World?
Oh, I've seen it, but the problem is that you've got to figure it all out, the logistics of you trying to cross borders and lines and everything else. And again, baseball players, are you going to get that kind of commitment like the NBA did? And again, the NBA is talking
as well as baseball players getting paid, they ain't got no choice. You know how good they get paid?
Oh, yeah, they get paid just as good as NFL.
Somebody was just saying in the comments, baseball, they travel more. Baseball, they're traveling every day. Football, you travel one day.
Right.
You travel there, and then.
Well, Eddie Vigil just made a comment too, and I'm going to read it. You all don't know anything about COVID-19 until someone close to you has it. Stay safe, everyone.
Yeah.
I say that all the time, and we were talking about it on the off the air.
Now,
look, man, whatever there's been a lot of lines drawn as far as this. It goes to this crosses political lines, religious lines.
And Jay had a cousin who died from COVID-19.
Yeah, it's when you see this stuff up close.
My condolences to you, Jay.
It's tough. I just want us to get through this. And we talked about this last week. Yes, we're sports fans. This is a football talk show, okay? But the bottom line is these players, their husbands, their fathers, You know, you look at a player, Dennis, from your squad, Marquise Good, when he did a video, you know, showing his newborn baby. He goes, "This is why he opted out."
And their sons. They're also sons of elderly parents.
Yes, you know, and we look at it as just entertainment, but these people, they have mortgages, they have wives, they have kids, their brothers, their sisters, their fathers, their sons, like Ramona said, and you know that takes precedence over everything. You know, if that, for me, as much as I enjoy football, and you know, this is a football show. You know, this is primarily a football show. That's what we cover. I want these guys to be safe. I want them, you know, I want us to get through this, and I want us to move forward, you know. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get ready to wrap this up. William,
yeah,
go ahead. Last words, William.
Stay safe, enjoy. I'll take your prayers because I'm headed off to that hot spot in Portland, Oregon, for some training this week. So I gotta go up and deal with the nonsense and the crazy. So I'll be outside the city. So hopefully it won't come out where I'm at. But I gotta go.
We're
up
praying for you, though.
Yeah, like I said, I gotta go up and get some training done, and we'll be back at it and going crazy. But good luck to everybody. Thank you for having me on, Marcus, as always. Again, Ramona, thank you. Dennis, thanks again. Appreciate it. If you want the AFC Feast, we're waiting on a time, trying to make sure everything's all cravey and whatnot. AFC Feast will be on again this weekend. It's a weekly podcast over on part of Rise Up and the Retro TV. So you guys just come out and join it. It's Bills, Patriots, Dolphins, Jets. Jets Guru comes on there. Jay Renaud, TC Casey, and myself. We host and we talk about the facts that deal with the AFC East. I know there's a lot of AFC East people in here, so if you guys got that, again, I appreciate everybody for letting me on for the night. Appreciate it.
Make sure y'all definitely check that out. We always like to support our guys. If you can, pop in there and check them out. Those guys, they spit a lot of knowledge.
Listen, everybody, stay tuned and be ready for next week's Alphabet Show.
Ooh,
We have something absolutely lit for Friday night show. I will put it to you this way. It is a defensive style show. Because everybody knows I am a defensive girl and always have been.
Without a doubt.
And yeah, this is going to be lit. This is going to be something that you've never seen done before.
Without a doubt. Dennis, any last words?
I just want to thank y'all for letting me share this platform with y'all. Sorry for being late. That was no one. But besides all that, I did love the show. We got to do this again when the season starts. I believe it's going to be a football season. I think the NFL is going to get this thing right. But besides all that, like I said, thank everybody for coming out tonight to the Alphabet Sports Show. Make sure y'all tune into everything that we do. We're here to support with the Rise Up family. As y'all can see, I got my mug. I drink out of my mug now. Every time William says something crazy, I take a drink because it's water. I ain't drinking nothing illegal. It's just
good thing it's water. We keep you
without a doubt.
Keep you hydrated.
Once again, last word. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for William. He's anytime I ever ask him for anything, any type of technical anything, he's always here. We appreciate it. I owe you a mask. We'll talk about that offline. Dennis, the ignorant thinker. Dennis, the ignorant thinker. I always like going back and forth with him. It's always enjoyable. My lovely co-host. Make sure you all tune into the other shows on the Rise Up with the Rise Up family and the OnPoint network. Please check out shows like
like the trivia show, because there is a guy.
Eddie B. Hill said to check your messenger, Marcus.
There is a guy here that's a 6-time trivia champion.
You know what?
And I challenge anybody.
I'm really getting tired of this. Look, I'm gonna let you live one more week. I'm gonna let you live. One more week.
You ain't letting me live. You ain't letting me live.
I'm gonna live one more week.
As one of the best wrestlers of all time ever said.
I think Reed needs to come on that show.
You need to beat the man. All right, it's just that.
I think Willem Bumbar would have something to say about it because I know for a while wasn't he like the champion on the Die Hard debate show for a little bit?
By the way, Willem Bumbar says that's because he cheats.
He show up
That's just coming from the man himself.
But yeah, make sure you all check out the other shows. You can see Dennis.
Hey, wait a minute. Willem Bombard was winning when he wasn't even showing up.
He wasn't even showing up, and he was getting more votes than me.
Getting votes.
He was getting more votes than me. He wasn't even showing up.
We're gonna have to organize something. But make sure y'all check out Dennis on the Vault and on Talk Your Ish Tuesdays. Once again check out William Richter with Retro Sports over in the AFC Feast. I want to say all this shows, and if you're not in the look on our programming, download the OnPoint network. It's free. You can watch a lot of these shows on there for free and stream them to all of your devices. And please, please, please be safe out there. Be safe out there. Ronald Enix, hurry up and get well soon.
Yeah, we miss you, Ronald.
We got some stuff coming for you. Everybody out there.
He's been checking his mail every day. So
without a doubt, we got some stuff coming for you, buddy. But make sure y'all tune in next week. You all have a good night. We appreciate y'all, and we will see y'all real soon. Y'all have a good night and be safe. Okay.